Hey everybody, this is Michael Bryson for This is Bodybuilding, and I'm here today with the one and only Maryland Muscle Machine, Kevin Levrone. How are you, Kevin?
No good, Michael. Thank you very much for having me here.
Oh man, I'm honored that you joined me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, as I told you, you're the first legend that I've had the opportunity to speak to on this thing. I've spoken to many guys who are competing now, who had shows coming up or had just finished a show. But with you, there's
Mhm.
like just a whole catalog of topics to talk about. We could talk about every single show, but I think people can look a lot of that up on the internet. You're a Wikipedia search away. So I'm curious, other than bodybuilding, what is something that maybe the fans won't know about you that sort of makes you tick and drives you?
Hmm. Um, well, giving back to the community, I um I have a school in Cambodia called Kevin Levrone English School of Cambodia, where we go in and we teach people, English in Cambodia. The village kids, the kids who are less fortunate ones who really don't have a school in Cambodia where they live, in the village where they live. So uh, that's that's a driving force or something that I enjoy doing.
It's awesome. Yeah, that's great. And it's not bodybuilding related at all, but it shows that I know you're a multifaceted individual, that you're a talented artist, a singer, actor as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a few movies. Um, Kind of, wanted to try that out. Um, the music is part of just that's a passion that I love. I love music.
Mm.
Now when I'm I really don't have any time to get to the studio or anything because I'm so busy with my son's football and I'm doing a whole football coaching thing now,
That's
for the
awesome.
high school. And but yeah, there's like all of us, man, there's more to it than just what you see, what meets the eye, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the music, do you write as well? Do you play instruments, or are you?
Both. I write. I hear melodies. They come to me, and I try to, put them out, orchestrate them into, the chords and first verse, second verse, um, choruses, and then going into the bridge and stuff like that. Play piano, guitar, and drums as well. So,
Yeah, I play guitar and I fiddled around with writing
do
some
you?
songs. Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I've actually made a couple CDs myself, but you know, haven't blown up at all. So we'll see what happens.
I haven't blown up either. So, but I do love music probably more than bodybuilding.
You can see that in your routines too, how well you connect to music. When you were bodybuilding and competing, your routines were phenomenal, and it everything seemed to flow with the music. I mean, there's many times I got goosebumps watching you in shows, like um,
Thank you,
especially,
Michael.
yeah, my pleasure, man. I like 2001, that Olympia post 9/11, that was really moving. You did Enrique Iglesias song, yeah.
Yeah. Would you
You're,
dance if I asked you to dance?
man, that was
Would you
awesome.
run, never look back? No, would you try? If you saw me crying, would you save my soul tonight? Yeah, I remember that. I can be a hero, baby. It was like Betty Weeder and
Yeah,
Joe was sitting right down in the front. I can kiss away your. Oh man, yeah, that brings back good
yeah,
memories.
that was
I'll
amazing.
remember you
They
forever.
were moved. You could see them move
Yeah, man. Like
watching.
I knew the song. You know, I that song was something else.
Yeah.
But the routines, I would do them on stage as I was listening to the music. That's how I put my routine together. I always have like a couple songs picked out. Then depending on how I would feel, is the songs that I would play, and then I would go out and do the routine.
But you never rehearsed the routine ahead of time?
Mm-mm.
Would you just practice freestyling then? Like, you know, because you flowed so well from pose to pose. That
I
has
just
to.
knew I just knew in my mind what poses flowed together and how to do the transitions. And then you just let the music, you just move to the melody of the music, and you reach for those poses because you know the beats of the song,
Right.
right? And you can just feel it, and then it goes, yeah, that's how it flows. It just flows.
Improvisational dancing is very much that way, I guess.
Yeah. Being at a show, the crowd is always different, depending on who goes before you, depending on who goes, what music they use, or what music you hear played before. You kind of like want to make adjustments.
Yeah.
So I had several pieces picked out depending on what was going on around me. So.
Oh, interesting. And then you would just kind of say, use the song right before you went out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to have our music handed in way ahead of time. But a lot of times I didn't do that, and I would get in trouble for it. How can you really even know how you feel a day before? Everybody emotions change. So we have the meetings, press conference. Well, we have our meetings, athlete meetings, like sometimes on Thursday. And then the show is on Saturday. But it's like, well, how do I know how I'm going to feel on Saturday night? If I just give them this music on Thursday, I'm going to be stuck with that. So not for me. I had to.
Wow, that's really interesting. And most people
Yeah.
rehearse that one song and one routine for weeks, at least I would think. But I don't know. I've been speaking to a lot of people who are really great posers right now. You're familiar with Terrence Ruffin?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe he rehearses very strictly what he's going to do. And but other people who I've spoken to, like yourself, go with the feel at the moment. And it's interesting to me, like as an audience member, I would never be able to pick out the difference between who is rehearsed and who is just going with the flow, if they're talented at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I think, posing, if you're very familiar with the transitions, because posing transitions is what you're doing in between. How do you go into a front double bicep, and how do you transition out of that front double bicep with your hands and your feet into the following pose? Like, I just knew my transitions. I knew how I was going to get in it. I knew how I was going to get out of it. So the only thing that would make a difference is listening to the music, whatever it's a four count, 2 count, upbeat, one, whatever. And then boom, and then getting into that transition and making, the timing fit the music. So for me, it was pretty easy,
Yeah, that's because you're a musician and connect to music well, I think.
Yeah, everything is on a tick clock, tick,
Right.
It's a 1, 2. Yeah, so, and all the music is the same. It's the same, the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Whether it's, I can be your hero, baby, or God damn, I can kiss away your pain, 2, or then Creed would be
Yeah.
What's that song? Creed.
You did
The Creed
Who's Got
song
My
that I would
Back
do.
Now, or I think it's called.
Who's got my back now?
Yeah.
Same thing too. There for the
Another one of the greatest routines of all time, man. That's one of the greatest routines
What is the
ever.
truth now? Yeah. And then 2000 was to every MC that ever
Yeah,
introduced me, to every expediter that told me where to stand, down to every light man with a plan, to every judge and photographer. Yeah.
yeah.
And to so it's to every MC that ever introduced me. You walk out on stage because the expediters tell you where to stand, down to every light man, right? The light guys got to get that arena right, down to every light man with the plan. Yeah. And to all the judges that has ever judged me, and then I said something else. And to all the fans and the loved ones that cried for me, because the fans cry for you.
Yeah.
This one's for you,
For
baby.
you, baby.
And that's it.
That was awesome. Those 3 years in a row of 2000 through 2002, man, those probably three of the greatest posing routines of all time. Easy.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know that you that 2000 physique you say is your favorite physique of yours. I thought you looked amazing in 2001 as well.
I did, but I didn't feel good on inside. Sometimes, you might look good, but you feel your energy is down and you feel drained. You can cover it up because of the way you look. But the overall pack, as far as my energy level, my happiness, my spiritual being, where I was, I just felt like everything was in line that night in 2000. And, I didn't cramp up. I didn't feel fatigued.
It was a perfect performance for yourself.
Yeah, my pump came on right. There was nothing to even second guess. My trunks was fitting right. Everything was just right. Like everything was just right. I didn't have to think about, like, I knew exactly what song I was going to use. I'm like, yeah, that's the song. Got it. I think I might have been the first one out in 2000.
You may have been.
I'm not sure, but I think I might have been the first one out on stage that night. It was just, that's what I'm thinking.
As a performer, like I've performed live and stuff, and there's been times when people have come up to me and said, "Man, that was awesome," and I was like, "No, it wasn't." Like I wasn't as connected to it as other shows that I was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it matters to the performer. What was the best performance is how you felt really on stage. It's a big thing. When so you were top 2 on 4 occasions. If you look at all those 4 occasions, 92, 95, 2000, and 2002, how do you compare the feeling that you had at those shows in terms of
19? The first one, I was completely drained.
You were so shredded, and I remember in an interview right before you went on, you looked like you were completely out of it.
Right. See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I look ripped and I look this and I look that, but I had no power. I had no power. It was like I was such on the edge with my physique, as far as water being drained down, and like I was very, very fragile on the inside. Like that's when you know you've really like reached your limit, as far as pushing the body to the max, because I've been there, and that was 2000, and I mean it was 1990, 92, and then I was there also in 1992 at the Night of Champions.
You were shredded to the bone.
And I said to myself, Michael, I was like, you know what? I really got one foot off of the planet right now, and I don't want to go there anymore. Every fiber in my legs from my waist down was just twitching.
Yeah.
Whenever I was off stage and even on stage. And that's why I knew I was just close. I was drained. I was just really, surviving from what I was putting in my body at the time. and then you get underneath those lights, and you get called out and called out and called out. And I was like, wow. But I knew at that point I never took it to that point again, because
Yeah.
it was just your health gets involved, and it's a little too toxin on the body. That looked great, yeah. Night of Champions, I don't even think I got a call out. Maybe one call out. Thank God they put me back. Yeah,
You
that was a shredded event. That 90
Yeah.
Night of Champions in Olympia, 92 Olympia. So at that point, after that, I knew how to pretty much gauge myself, and I also knew that I could look good. I mean, I was down low 230s, 231, 227, 230. And then I said, wow, and then I learned that I learned how that, well, I put on more muscle, and I started competing in the 40s, and I started looking good in the 40s too. And that's where I was in 2000. I was about 242. And then I competed outside of the Olymp, and then I think the 2002 Olympia, I went down to like, it was about 30, 38, something like that.
Yeah, you looked a little. I thought you were a little down in size for that one.
Yeah, 38.
94, man. I mean, 95. I thought that's my favorite Kevin Levrone is the 1995.
Oh, I was pretty full. I was in my 40s.
Yeah, I think
I
you're
was nice and
244 or something
full.
like that. 57.
I had the hair, right?
Yeah, you had the hair.
Yeah, I had the
Sort of
hair. I was going on. But I think they might have put me in what, fourth place?
95, you were second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
The
During
second
the
time you were
induction.
second.
I had the
94, you
red
looked great
trunks on.
too. But that, yeah, I think you were fourth in 94.
Yeah. Um, I felt good. I think, but in 94, where was that Olympia? Atlanta?
I think
No.
so. No,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or was it?
I
Yeah,
can find.
where was that Olympia?
I'll find out real fast. Um,
But that was the year. Yeah, I don't know where the Olympia was that year.
it was in Atlanta.
Yeah, that town. I mean, the vibe with me in Atlanta,
You were
I
third,
just
actually.
was an Atlanta type of a personality.
No.
Yeah, I knew I was down there somewhere, and I just wasn't gelling with the atmosphere.
When was your pec tear? Was that 93 or
That
94?
was after 92. I came home. That was 92. I got second in Olympia.
And you tore the
And
pec for the Arnold, right?
yeah, I tore the pec in February.
Mhm.
And then I had to have surgery. And I was out February, March, April, May, June, July, and I went and competed in the 93 Olympia. Yeah.
Yeah, and you looked like you would never have known if no one had knew that you had that done. I don't think people would have picked it out. There's a lot of guys who you see when they have the pec tear, it
Yeah,
drastically
well,
changes the shape.
this was some more. Wasn't just a tear. I tore I snapped I tore my pectoralis major and minor, and then I snapped my tendon. My tendon ripped from the bone.
Oh my
So
goodness.
the muscle had to be reattached, the tendons had to be reattached. Had screws, 6 screws, 7 screws down into my tendon, and I was out for 7 months.
Yeah, that's still amazing that you came back as fast as you did
Yeah.
and did
And
as
it's
well.
amazing because it's like I'd only won like the Night of Champions, and I think Chicago Pro Show. No, San Jose. San Jose, the Night of Champions. And I got second in Olympia, and then I tore my chest. I had to come back. I don't know how I did it, but the grace of God. That's why I knew that I came back, and I went and I won the Arnold Classic after that, after placing fifth or sixth in Olympia in 93 and 95. I mean, yeah, 93, placed fifth or sixth. I don't know what
Fifth.
it
Yeah,
was,
you were
but
fifth.
fifth. And then I went and I won the Arnold. And then everybody was like, well, yeah, he didn't tear his pec that bad. But I had my Dr. Kevin Testworth come to the Arnold Classic in 94. And he was there and he revealed all the pictures. And then we did Weeder did the whole interview on how bad my surgery actually was. We took pictures of me on the operating table, and he, was interviewed for the magazine and revealed everything and how serious it was. And that's when I knew that, where the mind goes, the body follows. I came up with that, and because I've been through that experience of tearing your muscles with 600 pounds, ripping it completely apart, and then coming to win the Arnold Classic. It was just a phenomenal thing. And I knew that the power of the mind, as long as you believe you can achieve anything, never quit, never give up, bad times don't last forever, and all those models just started coming to me. And I was like, wow, now I got it. And if I can win the Arnold Classic after what just happened to me, and then I went on, and I was on a mission. Nothing was going to stop me. And then I ended up winning 20 some pro shows after that.
Yeah.
So my career took off after that, and I started doing the tours. And then it was just I was like a raging, because there was an opportunity where nobody had never come back from an injury. And
do you feel like that show was sort of your greatest victory in a way?
Every show means a lot. I can think back at every show and just remember those moments. They're all great victories because they came from struggle beginnings. My father died when I was 10. My mother died 2 years before I turned pro. They both had cancer. I didn't have a direction, a map, or directions to follow how to do this. I think Vince Taylor was here in Maryland, but I, was the one that came out of Maryland. And, there was no blueprint here left behind for me to say, hey, you got to do it this way. You need to, there was no gurus around. There wasn't anything. It's just, I had to find my way. So being that kid that I won the Nationals, 1991, and went to go meet Joe Weider, and Jermaine put his blessings on me. And Lee Haney said, hey, champ, stick close to Jim. You're going to do something. And that was a dream come true for me. I was doing a construction job before that. And next thing you know, I was a pro bodybuilder, meeting Joe Weider and having an opportunity to compete in the Mr. Olympia. And my whole life just changed so quick and fast. That's something that every show you do, you think about your beginning. I think about every step and moment, from my father passing to my mother passing, to every valley and low point that made me stronger. All of that is a piece of my routines, a piece of the fans and everything. It comes from that place, right? And every show is equally the same for me. Whether I'm up there as number one, or the last show that I did where I was the last finisher, on my comeback, but it had more of a meaning, and it had more of a deepness because I stepped away, but also this time I felt like I brought the fans, I brought something, I brought so much hope, and people who had quit and given up on themselves, they were with me through this journey. So it wasn't just Kevin Levrone up there going through a posing routine. It was me going up. It was me up there with them, up there with me. And it was just about hope and about, the skeletons that you still have deep down inside of you that haven't been put to rest. And if you have something in life, just go for it. Don't wait for time, just go for it, and don't quit, because we want to sleep peaceful at night. And sometimes you got to go and revisit those moments and put things to rest, whether it's a contest or a competition, or a loved one out there who you haven't talked to or spoken to, or a relationship or something, whatever's just not setting well with you, go back and make it right. And that's what that was. That was my go back, make it right moment for me. And I got a standing ovation, and
I was in
great,
that
and I'm
audience.
okay.
It was a beautiful moment, man. That was, definitely had tears in the eyes, goosebumps on the arm.
I can sleep now, Mike, and it's okay. It's okay. People say, well, you didn't look good. Well, I tried. I had 6 months, I tried, but I didn't know that, I was going to have, issues with
You had knee issues, yeah.
tendonitis in both knees because I worked out really, really heavy, and I had slight tears in both of my tendons above my kneecaps back. And I obviously, when I quit in 2000 and 2003, and I had bone fragments down in there that I didn't feel it because my muscles so big back then. But staying off for 14 years and not squatting, my muscles have got smaller in my legs. Then when I went to go move and put that workload on them, the blood wasn't flowing in there. So it was so much pain. And I went for the PRP, but the timing with the PRP and the timing with the 6-month preparation, the clock that I had, and then I tried it just wasn't enough time.
Right.
And but I still embraced it. I enjoyed it because it kind of like was like a comeback from the pec tear and everything. So you get into that mode of an athlete, and we like to take on challenges no matter what. We want to, we want to prove them wrong. We want to do it, against all odds. So that part is what came out of me, and it was a not a bittersweet moment. It was just a sweet moment.
Yeah.
And I got so much respect from the fans and people. So it's okay. Did I like the way I look? No, I didn't like the way I look. When I look at those pictures, it's hard for me to even look at those photos because as far as my physique, it sucked. But I got to get out of that mentality of I got to think about the people's lives that I touched and not make that about Kevin,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that was an amazing moment. That's probably one of the most moving times I've ever had in an audience, for sure. It was amazing. And you did the Creed song, yeah? Yeah, it was awesome. Of those Olympias that you placed second, I remember hearing Sean Ray one time saying, second place sucks. Second place is the first loser. And I always thought, as a fan, man, guys placed in the top 5 or 6 of the Olympia, you look at like, not gods, but like with a lot of respect. So I always thought it was sad to me that he felt like a loser placing second in the Mr. Olympia. How did you feel about those placings for yourself?
I never felt like I was a loser for me, because whenever I feel like I got second in the show, I felt like I should have won. I can look back at my second place victories and finishes and figure out, oh well, okay, yeah. Do I think I should have had Ronnie in 2000? Yeah. His stomach was a little extended and everything. The overall package, do I think I should have had him? Yeah. So because they didn't give it to me, that's not my issue. That's just the judges.
Right.
I definitely don't think I'm a loser in that. And then also when you go back and look at me in 1992, I mean, I got second. I think I was a loser, no, but I mean, there are some things that I think if I had ate, like my back, I didn't have oil on my back. And I thought I could have been a little fuller, but it's my first time I ever flew that far and competed in the time zone, and just so much stuff came into play. No, I wasn't a loser in my mind. I was very happy with my placing, and I was shocked. And I was grateful and thankful that I lived to even have a day like that in my life, to be out of nowhere. And I think less than 12 or 13 months ago, I was an amateur bodybuilder, in the state of Maryland, and here you are second in Mr. Olympia. Nope, not at all. 2002, I believe. No, not at all. I accept that placing. I felt really good. It had a lot of meaning behind it. I love that posing routine. The fact that Joe Weider was there, my mentor, and Betty Weider, and their support, and so much support from Lynn Conkright backstage. The feeling I had inside of me was I was a champion. I just wasn't Mr. Olympia, which didn't matter. But I felt like I still was a champion. I mean, I'd been on so many tours around the world. After the Mr. Olympia, I'd always toured since 92. And I've accomplished every victory possibly that you could. I just didn't have that Olympia title, and it was okay. me finishing second is just it's such a great honor. And then Joe Weider told me one time, he goes, Levrone, even though you're not Mr. Olympia, you didn't win the competition. You're my Mr. Olympia, and you were certainly deserving of it. The judges just didn't see it that way. He goes, but I'm going to put you on the 62nd edition, anniversary edition of Muscle and Fitness. And that's how that came about. Me being on the cover of Muscle and Fitness for the first time. So Joe honored me in that way. Every place, and whether it was first, second, third, or fifth on stage, it had a deep meaning to me, and I accepted it. You know, even placing fifth on the Mr. Olympia stage after tearing my back, that's such a great honor and an amazing task. You know,
That's which I imagine, yeah.
Every moment to be on that stage and to be judged in such prestige and you know, high level of quality underneath so many people and mentors that stepped on that stage before me, you know, all the mentors, everybody. So no, that's not a losing position, not at all for me.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad you feel that way, because as a fan, that's how I think. I mean, that's how I would feel, and how I felt about you guys who placed second, especially. I mean, next to, you know, with guys like Ronnie and Dorian, they weren't pushovers. So,
No,
yeah. So, absolutely,
very
one of the greatest
grateful and very
bodybuilders.
honored.
I think you're one of the greatest ever, period, and definitely one of the greatest to never be Mr. Olympia. 23 or 24 pro wins, right? Something like that.
23, yes.
23.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
18 second place IFBB pro victories. The rest were just top 5.
Yeah.
Competed 68, 69 times. But yeah, I mean, I've seen the world, you know, this sport is very, very educational, you know, to share time in Spain, Italy, Germany, France, Russia, Holland, Czechoslovakia, Prague, Romania, you know, and just places. I've traveled the world 15, 16 years. You know, what an education. You just can't get that sitting stagnant in the classroom every day. So done so much for me. It's laid the platform down for me to be now with the Levrone Signature Series. We're in over 80 different countries around the world, you know, giving back to Cambodia and kids and children and families in need. This is what I've gained position from the IFBB Federation and Pro Bodybuilding, positioned me to allow me for these things to flow to me, but not for me, but they go through me to provide for other people. So I enjoy that now, Michael.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, the world benefits from you, Kevin, and thank you for everything that you do, not just in your bodybuilding career, but even what you're doing now, especially in Cambodia. That's great. Great stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, man. It's been great. It's been great talking to you. And I know this interview is long overdue. I wanted to tell you I appreciate you and the sacrifice that you've given all of us bodybuilders. And I speak for all of us. Thank you very much, man, for your time. I know that you also have a full-time job. This is your hobby. And your words and the things that you write and the things that you take your time to sacrifice to post about us, not only me. It means a lot to our fans, you know, and thank you for sharing who you are with them and a piece of your vision of us to them.
I appreciate that, Kevin. Thank you so much. And thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate it, man.
You're welcome.
Stay on for a second. I'll wrap this up and then I'll just talk to you for a couple seconds if you don't mind. But everybody, thanks for watching today. This is Michael Bryson for This is Bodybuilding, and I had the honor to be joined by the great Kevin Levrone. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.